Welcome to Court Helicopter Explainer, where we are dealing with the last episode that deals with the wills. This is a question that arose because we have seen a dispute arising about the late Senior Judge Justice Majanja, a commissioner of Judicial Service Commission. A dispute has gone to court. So the question we are asking, what can lead a dispute? What can lead people to challenge your will? We have told you in second episode how to write a will that cannot be challenged. So now we are explaining to you what can lead the will to be challenged. Number one, the accuracy of the will can lead to the will being challenged. What do I mean? You are 25 years old. You had one old car jalopy, a Volkswagen. You wrote a will saying this jalopy goes to Mary. At 28, you get a bank job. You sell the jalopy. You buy a state-of-the-art car. You have in the will properties that are not yours, that you have already sold. That will is inaccurate. It's factually inaccurate. On that basis, somebody can go to challenge that will, that the properties in this will are not owned by this person, or these properties were taken by the bank and they were auctioned, but they are there in that will. So how do you avoid this? You always revise the will. The wills are written constantly. Every time you buy property, you do another will. The will that you did last year will be declared invalid by the new will that you are doing. The old will that had a Volkswagen jalopy, now you have a new will that brings in the Discovery or the Jet Tour, the new Chinese car coming into the market. So the accuracy of the property to be willed is one reason that can take a will to be declared invalid. Number two, the details of the will are wrong, completely wrong. The information in the will is wrong. That means the mind of the person who was doing that will was not alert. If the details are wrong at the face value, that will be declared unconstitutional and illegal, and it will be thrown out. Third, failure to provide reasonably for your family. If you failed to provide reasonably, equitably, not equally, the word is not equally, the will should not be distributed on a 50-50 basis, but it must show a semblance of equality. How do we do this? You are the father of 3 daughters and three boys. The daughters have grown and they are married. They have gone away. The sons are remaining. Then you do a will giving the properties to the sons, and you have not provided for your own daughters. Then the daughters here Daddy has died, but he has said, nyinyi kwenda muliolewa. They will challenge that in court because that is discrimination. The principles that every child is equal and they are entitled to a share on an equitable manner of their father, of their mother, that will be declared a nullity. Reasonable provision can also come. You have two wives. You decide this first wife ni kierere, mudomo mingi. That is actually why I brought a second woman. I'll give her only 5,000 shillings plus her children. Then you give all the other property to the second wife who is taking care of you. The first wife and her children will go to court saying that there is no reasonable provision for us. So as you write a will, ensure that you understand, because Court Helicopter taught you Article 24 and Article 27 of the Constitution, that equality of the children, equality of everybody is a fundamental bill, fundamental human rights. Then we go further. You have done a will and you have not provided for family. Hawa watu walikuwa kupigia kelele when you are alive. They never cooked for you or sorry for that. They never polished your shoes or pole for that. You called them, they never picked your phone. You are alone in the hospital, crying. The nurse there, a very beautiful lady, in the attire of hospital nurses, takes care of you well. And you say, Madam, naitwa nani? Nyambura, kuja, nipe karatasi. All my properties I give you. She is not a family, but she has taken care of you. Or the worker, the house girl, who was doing your work stuff. The houseboy who was doing your work stuff. Your former employer, Wakili Danstan Omari, when you are an advocate. Oh, me, I did pupillage in Omari's law firm. He's a good man. Me, my property, I give him. What does the law say in Article 45 of the Constitution, which we dealt with? That all property shall vest in family. You cannot decide to give the animals at the orphanage. You have gone at Masai Mara and seen how the lions are doing very well, the cheetahs. Then you say, all my property, I will it to the animals, to the zoo, to the dogs, if you are a Mzungu. Under the Constitution, which we dealt with, and under the law of succession, in properties called inheritance shall only vest in family, whether you hate them or you don't like them. So failure to comply to that, it can be challenged in court, and it will be found out that that provision was not found out, and the will be declared useless. Another ground is that you did the will without your will. Still, I come to the second wife. But don't throw stones at Court Helicopter. Has your father married the house girl? Has your husband run away with your former nanny? Were you displaced as a wife by the second wife? Who was your employee? A worker. My two sisters, very good friends, classmates, secondary, classmates, university, workmates, together. One marries Omari. He later disposes of this one and marries the friend. Your real friend has taken over your husband. And this real friend of yours stays with Mzee. Mzee is going to India for treatment. And very many old men go to India for treatment, like Baba Raila Odinga. They die there. At the deathbed, this person is told, now you sign here or we pull out the air machine that is keeping you alive. This is the lady who has the ATM. This is the lady who has everything. Your life hangs on her. Kirima succession story. You have it. You are carried captive into a place and you are told you can't live here. Your wife, former wife, your children cannot access you. You are held as a hostage. You are forced to do a will. If there is undue influence, if there will be evidence that you were made by coercion to do that will be challenged in court, and that will be declared illegal, and that will not see the order of the day. Is the will unreasonable? If the will is unreasonable, the demands there are unreasonable, especially demands on other people, on you, not your property. That will be declared illegal and practical. And I gave an example in episode 2 where one wants to be airlifted to leave funeral home, and yet all his life he ate meat once during Christmas Day when he bypassed a ceremony of a neighbor. Him and his family, they have never afforded meat. So the question of unreasonability can be the reason to knock out. For also, did the witnesses that we talked, if they were underage, if they were intoxicated, that can be a ground to make the will to be thrown. Equally, did you appear before an advocate who has a practicing license? This is January. All the advocates' licenses are going to expire on the 31st day of January 2026. We have got to have new practicing licenses. So if you appear before an advocate who doesn't have a practicing license, they call them fake advocates. That will is a paper. The lawyer who will do your practicing, who will do your will, must be licensed and having a valid license to practice. So there is no provision, for example, in the will where one says, I bequeath you one plot, and if you challenge, you lose that plot. Can the judiciary be excluded from supervising and the implementation of the will? No way. No way. You cannot threaten the judiciary that if they interlocate the matter, somebody will punish. So we are telling you today, don't be scared. If the will is not favoring you, walk to court, challenge it. Then the question, where are these wills supposed to be kept? Your father dies, your grandfather dies, then you get a big sanduk, similar to his coffin. That is where the documents are kept. You open after that person has died. My good friends, the rats, Lewis will tell you, they know where the documents are. They dug from down, entered from down, they ate everything. Then you get a piece of a will. You try to reconstruct it. It can't make any sense. That is when you realize your academic certificates that you gave your mother, the rats ate. That's when you realize the title deeds that you knew they are there, they have been eaten. Why are you supposed to keep the will? One, in a law firm's office. And law firms that have a chef that is that is fireproof. So the law firm provides a safe haven to keep your documents. Why? Your wife, you differ with your wife, or you differ with your husband, they ban the will. Keep it in the law firms. Two, in the bank. Banks have provisions for keeping of custody of documents. You pay a little higher, so you can keep your will at the bank. Free, you can keep your will yourself. But I've told you, it is risky. Your children can sneak in, break, and see whether they are beneficiaries or not. So how you keep the will is very fundamental. Free. How will people know you have a will before Danstan Omari and advocates? How will people know that you have a will kept at KCB Bank or Equity Bank? Then that remains that at least one person who is alive should know that you have a will, and that will is somewhere. If you write a will before an advocate, the advocate will know that his client or her client has died, and in the will, in the depository documents, you will have declared that in case I die, these are the people you will get in touch with to convey to them that this will is there. Now, after you are dead, when does the will get to be read? Normally, after death, the will is supposed to be opened in the presence of family members. Normally, the lawyer summons you to his office, or he comes home, and the will is opened. Wills are kept closed. The envelope is completely sealed. You get it? That is the first time it is being opened. And that will is read to everybody in public. But those who are concerned, the family members. Why must the will be read before burial? Because it contains information of how the person wants to be buried. That is why it must be opened before. If it is opened later, and the person says he was to be cremated, and you buried him, that will can now take you to court for exhumation. So the will must be known before burial. Then the implementation starts. There can be a simple implementation of the will if there is no dispute. There can be taken the will to court for the court to have it, so that the court can supervise the implementation of that will. Purely not because that will is being contested, but because some provisions need to be enforced. The question that is there, joint ownership of land. The land, we talked about chapter 300 of the Land Act of Kenya, and Court Helicopter has it, 8 episodes. You can go back to that. Is land that is jointly going to be in a will? If you have said this land by document, you are registered, you as a husband and your wife jointly. But in the will, you are writing, this woman is an idiot, I'll not give her anything. Can you dispossess somebody who has joint ownership by a will? You cannot. You only do a will on what is exclusively yours. Your body is yours. That's why you're saying, take me to Lee funeral. Take me to Montezuma. The property that are only registered in your name are the ones you can put in the will. So if you have put a property you joined with your wife who you differed, and by law, upon your death, the property moves to the woman, and you are trying to dispossess her here, the courts will declare your will unconstitutional, illegal, and untenable. Lastly, can a child contest the wishes of the parent in a will? Yes. The law does not stop a child challenging you. If the child had no power to challenge you when you are alive, because you say, go to this school. The child says, yes, daddy. Go and get me water. The child goes and brings you this water and you drink. It is expected then that when you do that will, you will be reasonable to apportion the properties as your children. Failure to which, the will be contested and it will go to court. So the last question, if it goes to court, how long will this dispute take? And that is the question every Kenyan is asking. What happened in the Majanja matter? The process of court is long. And I'm telling you, the process of court is long. There are filing of papers. In the Majanja matter, somebody went to court. What the court said is serve the other party within 15 days, come back. The other party can take 30 days to come back. Meanwhile, if there is a dispute, the employer called the Judicial Service Commission cannot release the money until the court decides. Paperwork, supplementary affidavits, arguments, application after application. At lastly, a hearing must be done. Witnesses must be called to testify. We did that in Court Helicopter. We taught you the trial process. Examination in chief, cross-examination, and re-examination. There are 30 witnesses. All of them must be heard. The judge hearing this matter is not only hearing Justice Majanja's matter. There are many. The shortage of the judicial staff. The case will be decided. One side is going to win. That is at the High Court. Because the property is more than 22 million shillings. Once the High Court pronounces itself, the other party who will lose is likely to go to the Court of Appeal. Polisan. That is the system. Another argument will be dealt in the Court of Appeal. A decision is going to be made. If another party if one of the losers is not going to be satisfied, he will go or she will go to the Supreme Court. Roughly 3, 4, 5 years, the duration for this settlement. What is the advice to the family of Majanja from Kotel Kopta, from Wakili Danstan Omari? Avoid the legal processes in court. People are likely to die as the process is in court. Majanja, I appeared before him severally, believed in Article 159 of the laws of Kenya, of the Constitution, alternative dispute resolution. We appeal from Kotel Kopta to the Chief Justice and the JC to reach out to the people fighting in this matter, to resolve this dispute. It is a disgrace to the judiciary of Kenya. It is a disgrace to the learned judge. It is a disgrace to the legal profession. We are appealing to the leadership of the legal profession. From Kotel Kopta, from Wakili Danstan Omari, the Attorney General and the Solicitor General. The DPP as the head of another arm of the legal sector, and the judiciary to work together to have a solution in this matter. We will not be happy to see the father of Majanja dying, then we rush there to buy another coffin. We will not accept any explanation. The country is mad. Kotel Kopta is mad. We are appealing to every stakeholder, sobriety. The judiciary has given a vague statement that the matter is in court. It is sub judice. Who believes in that statement? You can't run away from one of your own. You can't run away by technicalities. Article 159 provides that justice must be dispensed without due regard to technicalities. The Majanja family are calling for justice. The Majanja family are calling for interventions. Kotel Kopta is appealing that let sobriety be involved. The lawyers representing both parties, Kotel Kopta is appealing that let us not drag the name of a learned judge into the mud that we are seeing. We believe next week, when we shall be doing the other episode, we shall have found that the judiciary, the Chief Justice, and the Judicial Service Commission have resolved this matter within the family. There is no sub judice to call the families to order and tell them that this matter is likely to go far. Wakili Danstan Omari, very agitated, very annoyed, very frustrated, and not happy. The judge, his name, a man of reputation, is being dragged in mud. His will is now a public document for criticism. His private life is being exposed. May the Almighty God keep his soul in eternal peace. But as Court Helicopter, we are appealing for this matter to be resolved amicably. Wakili Danstan Omari. And if they cannot, the Court Helicopter crew can offer the technical expertise on how to resolve this family matter. Keep watching, keep monitoring. Wakili Danstan Omari hoping for a quick resolve to this matter. Thank you.